So what's going on, people? Right away, let me say right now, the audio on this video may change because I may have to change to another room, which often affects the audio. It won't be bad audio, but it may just sound different. So if you notice something a little weird in terms of the tone of the audio, that's what it is. But hopefully I can wrap this up and I won't need to move. I'm in a certain situation where I could possibly have to relocate, but we're going to try to wrap this up soon so that that doesn't happen. But today's video is about something a little bit different than what you may typically hear me talk about when it comes to Starfield. Now, you guys know I love Starfield. Starfield is holding its own. You know, I was really surprised when I went to look at some of the data because, man, this game is catching it, man. There are people who are working their hate for Starfield. Nothing wrong with disliking a game. That's totally fine. But I have been gaming for a very long time. I'm old, and I've never seen anything like this before. Some people are working their hatred for this game like it's a job, man. I mean, there is a serious campaign, and it is almost like some of the hate for this game, when the people are writing it, it's almost like they're getting it from a script and they're just rearranging a few words or whatever and a few expressions, and they're all getting it from the same script. But you know, look, I've also heard some legitimate complaints about the game, and those are out there as well. It's just that when you compile both, it's just this onslaught of complaints about this game. So you have the legitimate ones, and then you have the ones who aren't legitimate. And that's really why you don't hear me, you know, attacking the game. You know, I don't want to be some useful idiot, you know, for people who really don't hate the game, but they're looking for anybody to say anything bad about the game so that they can copy and paste the link somewhere or something like that. So I just decided to do something a little different. I know it's not as popular. I know you can get a lot of views to skull dragging the game, but you know, I try not to go that route. But today we're going to talk about some things that I don't like about Starfield, or things that I think should change. But I do love the game, by the way. I love it. And the only thing I would suggest is this. It was said at one time that you should try to go for New Game Plus, that you should try to knock the game out. Well, a lot of people are starting to realize that's actually a bad idea. Don't do that. I basically just started a whole new game. And I'm gonna tell you right now, yeah, don't go for New Game Plus. New Game Plus is cool, but man, you're gonna miss a whole lot. And that subject is actually gonna come up. So I understand that a lot of these things I'm going to talk about now are in hindsight, and it's easy to do that. You know, it's kind of like, you know, passenger seat driving. So, but this is all coming from true love of the game. Believe me, man, I love this game, and you know, I play it every day, and I'm so glad that they released it. I just really love the game, and I'm going to be playing it for a very long time to come. But there are some issues that I have with the game. Now, the game is practically tailor-made for me, but I think one of the mistakes that Bethesda made is with the settings and not really making it so that gamers can kind of tailor-make the game for themselves. I'm sure we all remember how difficult it was to figure out how certain things work, like navigation. I didn't mind walking around without what appeared to be no form of navigation, no form of any sort of mechanic that would tell me where I needed to go, because I was just mesmerized by the game. I mean, I just loved walking around. But the reality is that most gamers are not going to like that. Most gamers, I don't want to say have their hand held, but they just want some kind of direction. And I think what they should have done, a lot of these issues that I have with Bethesda probably should have been solved in the settings. You guys heard me say in a video before that No Man's Sky has some of the best settings that I have seen in the genre. Space games, or really any video games actually. And you can kind of tailor make that game the way you want it. They've got so many features that you can tailor make yourself if you want to. I mean, you can there are different levels of difficulty that have like certain degrees. Different things about the game can be hard where you can leave other things easy. I mean, it's just really, you have to take a look at it to understand it. But they have primo settings in that game. And one thing I do want to touch on before going forward is this. When it comes to purchasing games and the way that I purchase games, because a lot of people keep telling me, hey man, you know, the game sucks. Just look at all the scores, which the scores don't say that the game sucks, by the way. Now, yeah, there are some bad scores out there, but if you look at the totality of the scores, that would not lead you to believe that the game sucks alone. And also people say, look at the comments. Look, let me tell you guys something. And I've said this before in other videos. I don't look at comments on Steam or anywhere else to determine whether or not I'm going to purchase a game. I don't look at review scores to determine whether or not I'm going to purchase a game. And here's why. If you remember Jedi Survivor got through the roof scores, only for people to turn around and purchase the game and realize that the game was highly unoptimized. I mean, people were on, if you want to talk about comments, man, on Steam, man, people were pissed. I mean, this game was running like garbage. And that's the reason why I knew not to purchase the game, because the reviewers later had to come out and come up with the excuse. And this is how I knew that the comments had validity. The reviewers who ignored the bad optimization of the game had to say, hey, we knew they were going to fix it. But the truth of the matter is the game actually stayed broken for a very long time. I mean, and if you want to look at the PC version of The Last of Us, man, it was the same thing. I really wanted to play that game. Believe it or not, I've actually never played that game. And at this point, they keep coming out with so many versions of it. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. But anyway, you know, same thing. You know, the people went on Steam and they were skull dragging it, rightfully so. And that game stayed like that for a very, very long time. So look, these review scores can actually work in the opposite direction. You know, just like they overlooked the bad optimization of those games, they would have no problem with certain games made by certain companies calling out the bad optimization. You know, you wouldn't have a problem with that. They would let you know right away, hey, this game could be a great game, but hell, I can't tell because I can't play it. They would start their reviews off saying that. They would say, hey, the game is crashing, you know, this, that, and the other, and whatever other problems that come. The whole thing would just be the end result would be, don't purchase this game, wait for a sale. They even tell you, wait for a deep, deep sale. And they would even probably throw in a couple of personal attacks on the company that made the game. As far as Steam comments, look, I'm just going to tell you this. As someone who has played this game twice, I've seen some comments and I've seen some people write paragraphs, like 4 and 5, 6 paragraphs. And I can immediately tell those comments are full of BS. These people either played the game, liked it, and for whatever reason is saying they don't like it, or they never played it. I've seen some where you can clearly tell that the people didn't play the game. And that's why a lot of these people who are making these comments, they're not going into exact details about what they don't like about the game. What area of the game that you didn't like? What mission are you talking about that's boring? What character are you talking about that's boring? What character did you talk to for over an hour and only to get nowhere? I mean, there's no character in the game that you can talk to for over an hour that I know of. That doesn't exist. But you're here to find out what I don't like about the game or how I think they can improve it. Now, I like the game the way it is, just like I just said. I love going around finding all these things, finding all these areas, finding all of these hidden side quests. I love it. I love trying to talk to all the characters that often lead to side quests that are so long that you can forget that it's actually a side quest. You will forget and you'll think that you're playing a main quest, a storyline, but you're not. You're playing a side quest story. So I think that in the settings, they should make it so that players can find these side quests harder. I mean, excuse me, what the hell am I talking about? I don't want it to be harder. I'm saying it should be easier. So yeah, they should make it where you could go into the settings and set it where And it should be different degrees of it, because some players might want it to be a little bit easier to find the side quest, but maybe not too easy. And that way the player can see opportunities. Like, yeah, I may be playing this particular storyline, I might be going to this particular destination, but look over there, there's some kind of tag or whatever that lets me know that's an area of interest, or that's a person of interest. There's a lot of hidden areas in this game. Like in New Atlantis, a lot of people don't know that there's a hidden city under New Atlantis, a hidden underground area with stores. I refer to it as like a ghetto in comparison to the upper level in New Atlantis. But you can go into an area where the hardworking people and some people who live in poverty are down there. They have their own stores, shops, clubs, everything. And a lot of people don't even know where that is. Okay, in Neon, there's the area where you can buy the ship where you land in the port, where you can, buy a ship. But there's also a hidden area where they sell luxury ships. A lot of people don't know where that is, but it's located in an area where they probably pass by it all the time. But if they're not an explorer and they're not the type of gamer that will say, what is that? I'll throw you a hint. I catch this elevator all the time and I never stopped at these floors before. What's on these floors? Well, some players may not ever do that. But I think that Bethesda should come up with a way. Now, I don't want to set it like that for me, but they should come up with a setting that would show players, hey, opportunity for a storyline here. Hey, opportunity, this is a point of interest. Maybe you might want to check this out. So that I definitely think they could improve on. Also, I think they could improve on the fast travel system. Now, I know that there's new information out that they're coming up with some different way to travel. I like it the way it is, though I don't know what they're coming out with. Maybe I would like it even more. I heard someone say, well, they better not come with some sort of portal. I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. But, even if they do, I'm not going to use it because I would have no interest in it. I hope that if they come up with something like that, I hope it's an option because I'm actually liking the game the way it is, believe it or not. But like I said, I'm that kind of player, man. I want to walk here and there, especially with the space pack. For me, the space pack is great, and I'm totally fine with it. Some people are talking about vehicles. The only problem with the vehicle is that I haven't ran into any walls, but if those walls obviously exist, maybe that would be a problem when it comes to, maybe you would run into that wall too quickly. Some people even came up with mechs. Now that I gotta tell you, man, if that's what it is, I hope that's what it is, because mechs is in the game's lore. So it's possible, man. And that's something I would be really happy to see. And it's something right now I can tell you, definitely I would use that. Also with the leveling up, I think they can make it in the settings. Now this is something I probably would tamper with a little bit, as long as there were different degrees. I wouldn't want to change it too much, but I think that a player should be able to go in and change how because there's a lot of gamers that want to do certain things in the game, but they can't do it because they have to level up. So I think if you can make it so that players could level up faster if they want to, and then they can start getting into the base building and all of that, and the crafting and all these sorts of things, and just doing things that it takes, because many things you have to be leveled up in certain areas in order to do in the first place. So in other words, that's kind of like locking the game, but not behind a paywall, but behind a wall. So you're kind of walling off the enjoyment for some. Some people may want to get into that stuff quicker, And another thing that I would like to see improved is the base building. The base building leaves a lot to be desired. Now, it's not horrible. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's horrible. But when you compare it to something like No Man's Sky and the base building mechanic in it, No Man's Sky's base building mechanic is very intuitive. Now, it's perfect for me because you do have to study it in a way. It doesn't give away everything. It's not like you can be, 5 or 6 years old and build a base. But, the base building in Starfield, it's not intuitive enough. And it requires, you could sit there for an hour before you get a complete understanding. And really, you won't have a complete understanding then, but before you have an understanding where you can get some sort of momentum going when it comes to the base building. Whereas in No Man's Sky, I think it maybe took me about maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is how this works. Oh, that's how that works. Okay, cool. Oh man, that's really cool, right? So the base building, they definitely should make it a lot easier to understand. And that goes also into the leveling up, because you know, in order to do some really great base building, you have to be leveled up in certain areas. So like I said, those two go together, so they definitely need to improve that. And I think that a lot of people who are having legitimate gripes with the game would enjoy the game a lot. The game, this is unscripted, as you can tell. But yeah, they would enjoy the game a lot more. I see a lot of comments, man, and people just really frustrated that they can't just get on with the damn thing and just enjoy certain parts of the game without leveling up. It's like you're forcing them to do certain things before they can do this thing that they want to do. Now, there was a time when I would have said they also need to increase the space encounters and the different types of encounters. But according to Buzz Lightyear and a couple of other sources, I'm not going to touch on that because they've said that they've already increased those encounters in space while you're flying your ship. They're running into abandoned spacecrafts and all of that. They're able to board the spacecrafts. There's loot in the spacecrafts and things of that nature. So I'm not going to comment on that. I'll be honest with you guys. I really don't spend a lot of time in my ship. I really don't spend a lot of time flying. That's one of the reasons why in my second playthrough, I haven't even upgraded my ship, because this playthrough, I'm trying to find all of the hidden treasures. I'm trying to find underground areas. If I find an underground area, I'm trying to figure out how many stories are down here. How long are the stories? I'm trying to do everything. I'm really trying to get all that I can out of this game. And I have to tell you, if you play like that, a lot of people saying that there's nothing to do in the game. I'm like, okay, even in my first playthrough, I couldn't say there was nothing to do. I'm like, what the hell game are you playing where there's nothing to do? Well, now I can definitely tell you there's a whole lot to do in this game. And I have a feeling that there is a lot of people who aren't finding these things because Bethesda makes it difficult to find them. And that, like I said, that's great for me. I love it. I love the way I'm playing right now. I would keep that. If that was a setting where you can improve that, I wouldn't do it. I want to be able to find these things for myself. I like going in an area wondering if there's something there. I don't want to know if there's something there. So that's my play style. But I'm just one gamer. And so there you go, guys. There are some things that I don't like about Starfield. There's probably some others that I just didn't think about. I'm kind of going into this thing, like I said, unscripted, no notes, no nothing. Just decided, hey, let me make this video, man, because I was just on just having a discussion online, and I was reading a few comments, and there are certain platforms that you can go on where people are loving the game, but they have some issues with the game and they're kind of struggling with the game. And I said, man, let me make this video, because I think about now I can make a video about what I don't like, because I haven't done it in the past because it wasn't necessary. I mean, you've got you had all these people out here. Like I said, you had the combination of the people who legitimately didn't like some of the things about the game, but they did like it. You can tell by the comments. You can just tell it. It's really obvious when a person actually played the game, when a person actually, they're not talking about the game like they hate the game personally, like it's the guy that stole their girlfriend or something like that. There's no attitude. There's no sly remarks about Bethesda and Todd Howard and all of that. So yeah, so you just had, and then you had the people who just weren't legit, and it was just so many out there. I just felt like, well, I really don't need to talk about what I don't like about the game, because there's already a lot of negative stuff out there about the game. So why am I going to add to that? People would have to look at the game and wonder whether or not I was just somebody who was just trying to pile on, kick a good man when he's down, or a good woman when she's down, So I think most of you guys know that I'm not that person. I love the game. So I think it's okay for me to come out, with this video. And I also I'm making this clear because if somebody decides to share this video as proof that the game is horrible, yeah, you're gonna have to edit the hell out of this one, because I've said it many times that no, the game isn't horrible. The game is great in my opinion. I absolutely love it, and I'm looking forward to the future of the game. By the way, well, I'm not gonna mention that. I was gonna talk about that modder that I already have a video on that. Check my channel, guys. I got a video about that guy, that modder, who I don't know if he was saying that he worked with Bethesda or if the journalist just assumed that, but I was doubting whether the guy was actually working for Bethesda or with Bethesda, because they kind of have a bad relationship. So check that video out. In that video, I have a lot of my sources and things like that, because I know when people are talking about things like that, you need to source it and show where you got your information from. But anyway, I made it a couple of days ago, so the video is not hard to find. But anyway, if you want to know more about that, check that out. If not, hey guys, look, if you like this video, please give it a like. Please give it a share. Man, sometimes YouTube can be kind of funny. So yeah, it would help out a lot. And if you got some comments, you guys will always stay respectful. Even the people who disagree with me, you guys have all stayed respectful except one person who got blocked from the channel. I don't have time for that kind of nonsense. Person was probably young enough to be my grandson, so, and out here cursing at me. Like to get a belt and whoop that ass. But anyway, hey guys, until next time, stay safe.